we're going to move into the second Sunday of the month. We set aside for prophetic ministry here at Legacy, and I feel like the Lord wanted me to encourage you guys of why that we do this. For those that are brand new to Legacy, it's a brand new year, and when you read throughout the Scriptures, it talks about when you gather together, let a person have a hymn, somebody have a prophetic song or a vision or a dream, somebody have a prophetic word, and let 2 or 3 prophets prophesy, but then let the rest judge the words. And so there's something about family coming together, understanding what New Testament, New Covenant prophecy is all about. It's always to build up, to encourage, and to comfort those who hear the word, receive the word, but there's also a vision component. Let me hear you say vision. It's also to clarify your vision of what God is calling you to do in your life. So sometimes the prophetic word is going to be a confirmation of something you've already heard. Sometimes it's going to be new information, but it's going to begin to resonate inside of your spirit that's going like, man, that's the answer. I've been looking for a pathway to go, and it's going to be able to bring some clarity to the vision. In Proverbs 29:18, it says, without a vision, the people perish, or they wander around aimlessly. And so a lot of times the prophetic words are helping people to do that. So what's going to happen here is as our prophetic team comes up, we're going to only have a couple people that will prophesy, and it's not going to be, over the entire room. Sometimes there's a corporate word, and there may be this morning, I don't know. But just know if somebody else is getting a prophetic word, your responsibility in that is to be asking the Holy Spirit, hey, is that also for me? How does that resonate in my heart? And if it's not for you, great. Celebrate the person that's receiving the word. If it is for you, just begin to take it in, write it down. We record it, and I always put it up on Facebook and YouTube afterwards so you can go back and actually hear the word again. But I'm telling you, it's important to know both the written word and also the spoken word as it comes out, because that's going to give you a pathway for vision. So Cindy, why don't you go and bring the team up, and we'll see what the Lord does.
I'm going to leave you last. Is that okay? All right. Yeah. Do you have individual words too?
No.
Okay, just corporate. All right. Do you have an individual?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll start with you.
Okay, so Rhett, way back in the back. I think everybody knows Rhett, right? Anyway, so it started last Sunday. I've been beginning to pray for him, and then I met with his wife yesterday for coffee, and then Lord began to download. And then he came to prayer meeting this morning, and he began to download even more. So I'm not going to go into all the details of what he said in the prayer room, but I want to add to even more, because while I was worshiping, and God was just downloading even more. And so what the Lord told me, just to briefly, the highlight. He is a man of integrity and humility, and there is just no hypocrisy in him, and that he has this heart of David, and that's been his cry of his heart, and he's been stewarding it so well. His heart has been stewarded so well. Your heart is just so pure. At the same time, God is going to anoint you to battle. You're going to battle like a mighty warrior David was. Ever since he was a child, he knew how to battle, kill the lions, and that's how he took down the Goliath, because he trusts in the Lord. And also, he's going to teach you how to connect. This Daniel anointing is going to come upon you, so that where you can even have a heart of an evil king, on all those kings who just loved Daniel, and you're going to be able to do that and walk in that anointing where you can speak to the king and many, many, many influential people. And not only that you're young, but you have such mature spirit in you that you would even be able to speak to older generations, even your grandpa generations. And I just looked up your name. Your name means advice. You will be able to give advice to older people. And I didn't even know that, and just looked that up. And that's just amazing.
You're like an old soul, right? You carry wisdom in you, but you've also been seeking it out. And I see the Lord highlighting your quiet time places where you've really been on your face before the Lord and really seeking after wisdom. And because you've done that, even as a young age, whether you knew it or not, you were always looking for more knowledge or more wisdom or more understanding. And that's the heart that He put inside of you. But it's out of that place of intimacy that has been birthed. And I feel like as she was sharing about the Daniel word, what I actually saw is when she talks talks about kings, there are going to be business leaders that are going to come along. There are going to be non-believing people that have a great deal of influence. And because you come in very real, very authentic, and very humble, you're going to actually give them prophetic words and they won't even know it. You're actually going to give them insight in such a way that it's not Christianese, it's not going to be churchy, but because you know how to love them right where they are. And I feel like that's why the Lord's going to open up doors for you in that way, because you know how to steward that by taking it back to the Father and asking Him for a strategy for how to influence these people, to shift their hearts and to represent Him well without having to like flashpoint evangelize them. It's a relational thing, and you're a relational man. And I hear the Lord saying that's because you've stewarded that relationship with Him. So bless you. Amen.
So, yes, good. I just met Lori right there, and she's the first-time visitor. Say hi, Lori. And as soon as I looked around and I saw Lori, and she was highlighted to me, and I just went over and just said hi because I was going to prophesy over her. And so when I met her, the Lord told me that she's a very strategic woman, and she I love the magazine Real Simple, and I feel like you love that, and you like everything simple because you're so strategic. But what I saw was Jesus just was surrounding you, holding you, and say, hey, dance with me. And music is going to be introduced to your life, and there's going to be color, there's going to be connection and relationship, and there's going to be more fun. Trust me, I'm a very serious person, and I'm beginning to have fun in 2020 in my 53. Don't wait till you're 53. I'm telling you, there's going to be fun, and there's going to be connection, and there's going to be joy and music, and just God is going to have fun with you. So be open.
I really saw you actually sitting down. I don't know if you have children, and I don't know if this is, okay, you have a little, oh, okay, see, I didn't even see the baby. So there you go. I don't know if these are all actually your children or not, but I see you sitting on the floor playing with children, coming down to their level, being able to really mother them and nurture them, that's just a gift of God that He's put inside of you, that there's just a really sweet fragrance that comes across out of who you are, and that your ability to be able to just stay in that atmosphere because you create that atmosphere of worship. But with the childlike heart, as she was saying, but what I specifically saw was like you sitting down almost like a kindergarten teacher would read a book to a class. I saw you really teaching and imparting with a nurturing heart. So I don't know if you're actually one or if it's just the picture, but I see you really that being a part of your calling and your ministry to mother people. And so that can be a word picture for the natural, and it can also be a word picture, prophetically speaking, that you have the ability to nurture people into their identity and to bring healing. And so there's a grace for healing in that as well. So bless you. I actually have, well, let me go ahead and give my individual word first. Greg, I saw a picture, I don't know why, but I'll try to make it make sense. It's a little jumbled, to be really honest, because I've been asking the Lord about it, but I'm just going to release it to you. What I saw is I saw you tinkering in a workshop with the Father. And you were building in a project, kind of like a father and a son might work on a car or something, only I saw it was woodworking because, Jesus was a carpenter. So I saw you working some things, but then I had a flash of a picture of a remote control. What are the little gadgets that float in the drones? Yeah, I saw a flash of that, but it was kind of like, it's like that, but not. It's like you kind of shoot it. When I had the thought, I was like, I don't know why, but I saw you guys working on this little remote, and it was like a drone being able to come over see. Well, of course, I think, well, that means going higher, being able to see farther and wider. But I actually felt it this way. I had a professor in college that would talk about his workshop, and one of the things that he did is he built those old traditional planes. Some of you guys might know some of those little things, but they're like the remote control airplanes, but they're really big. Like they have a really big wingspan. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but they're remote controlled like airplanes, but they're like, I don't know, 4 feet wide or something crazy. They're big, so when they fall, they break. Do you know what I mean? But I saw when the Lord was showing me that is because there's an old school thing that He's working on with you. It's a renewal, it's a workshop, it's a project of something that's old that He's making new again. And it's going to take you up to a higher level, to give you to be able to see in a different way. So I feel like there's some old thing, old project, something that he's working on that's actually going to be a new thing for you. So there's a place of tradition or history or strategy or something about that I feel like the Lord wants to show you, and he's partnering with you in it. And so I see specifically like the remote control, like adding extra buttons like it would be for the drone, like new and advanced, only the plane is old school. So I don't know how to unpack that other than, Lord, I bless that. I say whatever you're doing in Greg's life, Lord, I thank you that you love the old and the new, and you make all things new, and you're taking him to a higher level to be able to see higher and farther, and that Lord Father, you are partnering with him in doing it. And so I bless you with that. Do you have something to add?
Just quick, I wanted to add, when she was talking about workshop, I saw you like just in the shower taking this, every drop of water that's coming down, and you are being refreshed. So in the times that you are working, that you're going to get that refreshment. And I heard the man of completion. You like to finish your project, and you like to do it with excellence.
And so I have a brief corporate word. I'm going to make it really short because I know Thomas has a good one too for us. But the corporate word, I'm sure you guys have probably been hearing about prophetically about 2020. I've been talking about 5780 is the Hebrew year we crossed over in September. That word 80 is the word pay in the Hebrew alphabet, and the word picture is of a mouth with a flame inside. So this year, as we're coming into this new year, you need to begin to pay attention to the words that you're speaking and the things that you're declaring. That he's wanting to purify our mouths and our tongues, and especially if we want to learn how to hear, because everyone has the ability to hear God and to be able to speak on his behalf. And so that means we've got to start purifying our thought life and our words, because it's going to be very, very important that the declarations that you speak, they're going to start coming to pass. They're going to start coming to pass very quickly. And so begin to believe by faith the prayers that you're declaring are going to start coming, and you have to start praying and declaring them in that way to really partner and listen in on what he's saying, not just your cry to the Father, but you sitting in heaven's places, sitting with him, declaring down to the earth what's coming and what's going on in your family, in your life. You can put your head on your hand and prophesy over you. That's how we know it's a good word. We don't give it unless we want it to, right? So we need to be able to be paying attention to that. The other thing about 2020, lots of people have been talking about, it's the year of vision, 2020, being able to see higher and farther. That's a very prophetic picture. But that word, again, the number 20 in the Hebrew is the word kaph. I don't pronounce that very well. I think it's KPF or something. But anyway, the word is a picture of a hand. So 2020 is hand to hand. Okay, so think about that. One, hands to be able to receive. Now is the year to receive the fullness of what the Father wants for us, to be able to receive the finished work of the cross. I think that we're going to hear messages more and more and more about how to actually be in the new man, receiving what he already did. We don't have to fight for it. We don't have to strive for it. We have to learn how to receive it and to walk in it. But we also need to lift up our hands in praise, both of our hands. We've got to start worshiping and moving in a place where we war with our worship. That's why a lot of the songs that we do, you'll hear that in the declarations. You'll hear that pressing in. You'll hear those in the words, because that's what we want to be able to do is, again, worship and pray from a place of faith. But it also, the two hands means, what are you working on? What are you stewarding with your hands? What has he given into your hands? And what are you putting your hands to? Putting your hand to the plow to be able to move forward and to build things. Now is the time to build something. If you have been sitting on an idea, hear me. If you've been sitting on a book, if you've been sitting on some project, if you've been sitting on some work of art, whether it's creative or whether it's a business thing, now's the time to start doing it, because the Lord wants to partner with you, much like in Greg's word, to take it off and to make it happen so that it'll accelerate and be able to see some good fruit for it. So I want to encourage you guys with that. Thank you.
All right. Mine is a corporate, but it's for half of you all. Well, statistically, this is a female. So Sean Bowles says, not traditionally, men kind of get the analogies of warriors and women get flowers. So I'm going to kind of do the opposite. I like doing opposites. So blessing of Eowyn. In this time, we've had a lot of strong female movies. Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, Rey, just great. But 70 years before, we had a writer, J.R.R. Tolkien, and he wrote about Eowyn. And she is a daughter of a king. And she goes secretly into battle with a hobbit called Merry. And then she gets to face this guy. This is the king of the Nazgul. He's a bad guy. He's evil. He's part spirit, part body. He's the general of the forces on the ground, and she comes face to face with him. This is someone who ancient prophecy said no man can hinder him. No man will kill him. His rides a beast that when that beast lands, the foul smell and the darkness comes around. So she faces him in battle. And here there's a movie in the book, but I'm going to read a little excerpt from the book. A sword rang as it was drawn. Do what you will, but I will hinder it if I may. Hinder me, thou fool. No living man may hinder me. Then Mary, that's the Hobbit, heard all the sounds in that hour the strangest. It seemed that Durnhelm, which is Eowyn, laughed, and the clear voice was like the ring of steel. But no living man am I. You look upon a woman. Eowyn I am, Eowyn's daughter. You stand between me and my lord and kin. Be gone, if not be deathless. For living or dark undead, I will smite you if you touch him. So the bad guy mortally wounds the king, her dad. She stands up. She's the last because she realizes the prophecy that the evil person thought would give him life was actually his downfall. So she stands up, knocks, with the help of Mary and her, knock this guy down. The battlefield, light comes up on the battlefield. The heaviness lifts off the whole battlefield, and the battle is turned. So if you're a female and you want this blessing anointing, receive this. I give you a blessing and anointing of the warrior, the strength, tenacity, skill, courage, boldness, and fierceness. Go forth and slay the enemy and the enemy's leaders. Go forth and protect family, friends, and the innocent. That's for the females. One quick for the male. It's a Sermon on the Mount, hunger and thirst. If you hunger and thirst, this is for you. We're satisfied, but men, we need to hunger and thirst for more. And to highlight that, I'll give that out. And if you want to do this in groups of 3 or 4, come see me. We're talking about doing this in a smaller venue, but hunger and thirst, if that's for you, receive it and go forth.